Starting to the bottom right, we have the MVP Protoss down a game already. He just lost to StarTale opponent. This is Vampire. A quick shot of him.
Yeah, doesn't
white
like to get
keyboard,
out in the
white
day.
shirt.
Yeah, white shirt, white keyboard, but doesn't go out in the light too much.
To the top right, his opponent in blue with a nice hold in game number 1 on Cloud Kingdom, able to take the lead in this best of 3 series in the second round of Code. This is the StarTale player, it is Parting.
Orange headset there.
Orange?
Yeah,
it was pure red, man.
It looked kind of orange. I don't know.
Both of us leaning forward trying to look at this wall picture. It's like, nah, to me that's red. I vote for red.
I see the red, I see what you're saying, but I feel it leans a little bit more towards orange. Just maybe orange-red, like with a hyphen in between.
Okay.
Or without the hyphen.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I think we've come to a compromise here. Well, let's see what's going to happen here. This is a map where players oftentimes go for just a simple robotics expand. Use sentries as well to hold a ramp. Creator, especially, you know, the type of build that Creator does is really, really common on a map of this size. With a secondary ramp as well. Really hard to actually kill someone early with an attack with Immortals, and even with Colossi, it just takes so long to walk across the map. It's really difficult to pull off. So you may have that late game with you know, tons of Colossi eventually getting the charge Zealots and Archons. You can see both players are going to be going for that 2-2 and gas build.
I really like what we've seen so far, and Parting must feel great here defending this early attack of his opponent in the last game, and especially since he lost the match in the GSL against Tails. It was such a weird match to happen if you think about it, starting things off with the cannon rush and Parting doing such a great job of defending, but in the end just overplaying his cards a little bit.
Yeah.
And right now we have him this time playing it a little bit more safe, able to edge out the win. And this win in the second round of Code is of course really important. You want to go straight to Code S, you don't want to play the up and down matches. At this point, even if a player loses, you won't be down to Code B. You will still have a chance of getting into Code S through the up and downs. But it's just more confident if you are able to be one of those players who wins the third round and then finds himself straight in one of the Code S groups.
Yeah, that means that you don't even have to play that terrible up and down situation. I mean, that is really difficult to get out of, and they were actually both talking about it in chat before the game started, how much they did not want to do the up and downs, how much they both felt comfortable that they could actually go into Code S. They felt good about that, but they just got to win these matches. It's unfortunate. They're very obviously friends based on how they talk to each other, and sometimes you got to play against friends in Code A. It just happens.
The big problem about the up and down matches is that Koreans are more used to the tournament system where you can prepare for your game a week or at least a few days in advance, so it's always easier if you have one opponent or maybe two opponents in a group. You can analyze their VODs, you can really prepare special strategies in order, some special tactics in order to make it work. But as soon as you are in the up and downs, you have so many opponents to face. Some of these groups have 6 players, so it's really tough only to advance. It's literally impossible to prepare for every single match so in detail, so it's sometimes a little bit of a coin flip as well, so the up and downs are really very, very tough on the players, and it's just so hard to actually get one of these 2 spots. Sometimes it's not even up to you because you find yourself just a tiebreaker with 2 other players, and this is what you want to avoid. So this is of course what both of them trying to dodge right now and going straight into Code S. But for now we have him with the strategies that we already talked about. We'll mention it that on a map like this big, you want to rely a little bit on an expansion build, on a late game scenario, and we've seen both of them already getting the sentries out to control the choke point. The expansions are now being built, and just on the production tab it shows that it's kind of a mirror match that we're seeing.
Yeah, they're both doing the exact same thing essentially, going for that robotics expand. Robo after Nexus, even staying on one gate. They both made a Nexus with only a Zealot and a Sentry on the map. That is such a risky build by both of them, even on a map like this, but they both took that risk. And as a result, it's kind of a funny situation. We have a slight lead on the Robo for Parting, who's going to get his Immortal out first, whereas Vampire is going to take a slight risk here by getting his Observer out first. The Immortal first is much safer in case someone is attacking you, because both players are a little bit in the dark about what sort of build their opponents are going to be doing to them here. Little Maynards going on. You can see just how mirror this matchup is really right now, with almost everything being identical.
Yeah, this will of course be determined by the way that they are trying to engage. Most likely we are going to have a very, very long game here where both players just try to get the upgrades, get a little bit of an advantage by using their macro game in general, and then later on it comes down to the positioning when we have those huge fights. But maybe one of them is going to hit or trying to hit a little bit of a timing here. At this point, it doesn't really look like it, but as soon as the third base is coming to play, things are getting a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Once the third base is there, that's when players have to start putting pressure on each other no matter what. Otherwise, you can get behind that server. This is actually oftentimes why players like to make it more first as well. So if your opponent goes for a fast observer first, then you can catch his. That happens coincidentally a lot. I think sometimes it's definitely intentional the way that you put his observer like that. Now, you can see another Immortal coming out here. Both players starting to add gates. No big variation in builds. You can see that Parting is getting his gases up just a little bit before his opponent. And there's the Warp Prism. Yeah. So this is what is going to be the first change here. He's going to be doing a little bit of Immortal harassment most likely. No robotic support base. There it is, coming out for Parting.
Yeah, Parting now with an advanced tech, and at the same time this Warp Prism is giving Vampire an opportunity to just be a little bit more aggressive in this game. He has already 2 Immortals, so he can go for Immortal drops. He has to be really careful because of the Observer though. Parting knows everything that's going on. He sees in advance if there's going to be an Warp Prism or not. So that's definitely a little bit tricky for Vampire, but if he's, for example, researching speed as well with his robotic spray that is currently coming up, that will give him quite the edge. We've seen this work in the past, where players try to get the faster Warp Prism and then do a really good job at harassing. Actually, the last time we've seen it was, if I'm not mistaken, in the round of 48 when Naniwa was playing Mini.
Yes, we did see that. A lot of harassment with speed or without speed. There's a lot of potential here. Looks like he wants to do a very aggressive attack using Warp Prism potentially for Warp-ins, not only at the main base, but also just with his main army. Now he's going to go to the left side here. Warp Prism speed is on the way for Parting. He's going for a similar strategy, but he's going to have to pull back into his main. Now, how good is his multitasking to be here? Is he actually going to be able to split his units? He's not splitting them at all, so Vampire could actually take advantage of this.
And he's trying to work up one of the Stalkers, immediately dies, and Parting now splitting his units, using the rest of his army to go to the bottom in order to defend here. The Observer was already picked off. Vampire doesn't have a high ground vision anymore, but the Nexus, the main base of Parting, is really under pressure. Finally he's able to defend, but he's attacked at the natural too.
Now, this is a really scary position right now for Parting. He is so vulnerable. The Immortals are going to break up. He's going to need to use more force fields here. The Zealots coming again to harass the probes. He tries to take his advantage, but he doesn't quite get up there. The Zealots are getting the sentries down, though.
He needs to be really careful here, but on the other hand, Vampire just could not break through just yet. Another force field closes the gap immediately after the neutral supply depot was killed, but now finally Vampire is on the high ground, but it looks like he's a little bit too late.
The forward Warp-ins, though, on that Warp Prism are really, really scary. If he can get the shields down, those Immortals, they are the big problem here right now.
Indeed they are, and we still have 1 Immortal for Vampire. Parting needs to pull his probes away. That's exactly what he does. He tries to save one of his Immortals with a faster Warp Prism, but it's just not possible for him right now. There are so many Zealots in his base, 6 in total, but he already... No, actually he doesn't have the Colossus out. The first Colossus arrives for Vampire.
Yeah, this is almost an unwinnable situation for Parting. He's going to have to use that Warp Prism like a god. Right now he's trying to. He needs to target that Immortal. He's not quite able to do it. Picks up the Colossus. Really nice micro here. But I just don't know if good micro is going to be enough. There's way too many Zealots.
Exactly. At this point, it doesn't really look like the micro is going to save him. He still is facing 1 Colossus. And look how many units we have for Vampire in the main base of Parting right now. Targeting down this robotics, and it dies. No more Colossi for Parting. He's so far behind now in economy. And at the same time, he also has a little bit of attack disadvantage. He might be able to pick off the Colossus of Vampire. He tries to with the Warp Prism. A nice pull here. But at the same time, I have to say that Vampire already did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Parting is now down to 30 supply.
Exactly. He's down to 30 supply. Yeah, maybe he wins the Colossus battle there, but he will not win the war. Vampire can actually just float home. He actually sends his rallied Colossus back home. There's nothing he wants to do besides just walk back home and play the longer game.
35 workers were killed in total. As you can see, the worker supply currently on screen, 15 to 47 in favor of Vampire, and this is just a great position for him to be in.
Yeah, and Parting is just going to go for the last-ditch counterattack effort. That's the only chance he has. He's only down 3 army supply, so he thinks maybe, just maybe, I can break through here. The chances of that are going to be very unlikely with Vampire's range now finishing for his Colossi. He's going to have another round of Warpins as well.
But it's his only option. That's the only thing that he can try to pull off. But as you already said, range is about to finish, and with the 2 Colossi inside, Parting GG's, and we have a 3rd game.
Yeah. Tie score here. Very straight up game that we just saw. Vampire not able to break in the front door. This first wave with his second attack was much stronger. As soon as he started warping in Zealots, that was a big problem. The multitasking and parting was good, but he just, at first, I feel like he didn't realize what was happening. He sent all of his units into his main, and then he started to switch things around, but he sent all of his units back to his natural. He almost lost his Nexus in the main to Zealot warp in, so really struggled against the pressure the Vampire put on him there.
The next map is going to be Ohana, which is the third map for this best of 3, and we will find out who exactly has a shot at going to Code S right away and who will have to play the up and downs. Vampire or Parting, another PvP, and so far we've seen pretty interesting matches. Let's see what both of them have in mind for game number 3 here. And I have to say that Vampire really used a nice timing here. It was really well done, especially with the War Prism in order to get those Zealots into the main base. Parting was forced to defend there. His Nexus was about to die, so he had to do something. And it was really, really tough on Parting. His macro at this point in time was not perfect. But now we have Ohana, and both of them have another shot. Let's find out who's going to decide game 3 in his favor.